Name and affiliation, please.
Daryl Bruffett with KBTX. Kyle, can you talk about what you learned from tonight from the standpoint of not giving up, playing the full 60 minutes, I guess, and then some?
Yeah, and that goes back to everything that we did over the summer. And that was a big thing, and it's always kind of been a big thing about our program is that when we get to the fourth quarter, we're an up-tempo offense, a hard-hitting defense, and we're going to wear teams down to where they can't handle us in the fourth quarter. And that's just been a staple of our program, and I think you could see it tonight in the fourth quarter that we didn't give up and we didn't tire out, and we ended up just pulling away.
Next question, back far left. Scott.
Josh, can you talk about Scott Clendon, KZNE Radio? Can you talk about the plays there to get the ball game tied? What you saw on the deep pass, and then working it for the 2-point conversion.
I was really just going off of what Coach called. Kyle made a good throw, and just executed.
Next question. Again, raise your hand. We got back here in the 6th row.
Zach Taylor, KZNE in College Station. Myles, I know that their offensive line is pretty big, and you guys at times had a little bit of trouble with them. What adjustments were you able to make later on that were able to allow you to get to Brandon Allen?
Just make some calls for me to, me and Dede to go inside so we can switch things up, so we wouldn't just, be going outside so they could just know what we're doing and protect them the same way. So we have to switch it up to keep them on their toes and just run some different schemes just to make sure, we can get to the passer.
All right. Again, raise your hand all the way in the back, Daryl. Daryl, identify, if you would, the player that you're going to ask the question to for the stenographer.
Myles, Garrett, Daryl Bruffett from KBTX. I know you guys didn't convert the field goal to win it in regulation, but can you talk about how big it was? You guys needed a turnover, and you got the recovery, I think, from AJ?
I mean, players make big plays, and that's what I'm out there to do. That's what we're all out here to do on defense. And, I had the chance to make a play. I got my one-on-one finally, and I went out there, made a big play, and we got off the field.
Second row up here on the right.
Mark Passwaters with Rivals. This is for Joe and Myles especially. First SEC game, same as last year, a real shootout, I guess. But can you talk about how physically demanding these games against Arkansas have been?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say very physical. We knew this past week in practice, they've had some frustrating losses. We knew they were going to come ready to play. We knew extremely. It was going to be a physical game, and that's what it came down to. And, worked on some things this week in practice. They played their tail off. They got after us a little bit in protection. We made the adjustments when it mattered at the end. We made some big plays. Guys stepped up, and we just kept believing, and that's, we pulled it off. Big deal.
All right, guys, back left there, Scott.
Scott Clendon, KZNE Radio. This is for Kyle. With the weapons that you have out there, when it seemed like that they started keying on Josh, you could go back to Speedy. Did you see it go back and forth in coverage when you're able to kind of pick on one or the other?
It wasn't really a certain guy. I think that they played a lot of uncharacteristic defense than they did in the past against other teams because we have so many explosive people on the edge, and you saw a lot of one high and a lot of not much of their keeping in front of them type defense because they thought they could get after us in pass protection. So that opened up a lot, and those guys aren't used to playing man coverage and one high. They're used to playing zone and keeping it all in front of them, and I think that uncharacteristic defense that they were running opened up a lot of holes for our guys. And I think the explosive plays early made them try and get into it, but I don't think it was – I think our guys adjusted well to it, and we figured it out on the run.
All right, raise your hand again, Daryl, in the back.
This is for Kyle Allen. Kyle, can you talk about the sideline, and did you have to do any kind of keeping the guys' head in the game? Because there was a time there in the fourth quarter that it looked like this game may not go your way.
Yeah, it did look like that, but I was sitting on the bench on the sideline when the defense was on the field, and I was looking around, and it's a lot different than what I saw last year. And I saw a lot of guys focused, not like great energy, not like crazy energy, but we were focused. And I knew that when I saw that we didn't have a problem, and I knew that I was confident going on the field and confident that we could go out there and make plays and get the game back in our hands. But there was no rah-rah speech. There was no getting them pumped because we were focused. We've been focused the whole game. We just stalled out on a couple things. But that's like what I said earlier. It's when it comes down to the fourth quarter and overtime, we don't wear out.
Again, raise your hand if you have any questions. In the back again for Daryl. Knock him out, Daryl.
Josh, I'll try you. I'll try you, Joseph. Can you talk about what this is going to do for you guys going into next week's ball game?
Just another week to build on. We still have a lot of things to work on as an offensive line unit. We're gonna keep working to fix everything out we can. Keep getting better each week. But it's a grind. Each week somebody's coming. They're gonna come ready to play, and it just goes back. It starts tomorrow and taking care of our bodies, and Monday starting going back to work, and just another week to put it in.
All right, front row right here with David.
Dave Michaels, NTSN. Joe, let me ask you a question. You were talking about uncharacteristic, easy for me to say, of defenses that Arkansas was throwing at you. What were they throwing at you early on that either one of you guys can talk about as far as what you were seeing? Were there different coverages? Were they throwing blitzes at you?
Early on, they were playing what we thought they were going to play. They keep two safeties high. They try and keep everything in front of them, and they try to stop the run with their enormous front five. And then after they saw the success we were having in the pass game, the explosive plays, Christian Kirk and Josh and all them getting wide open and running on them, I think they tried to do a more man coverage standpoint, put 6 in the box, man coverage, and try and close the gaps that a zone coverage would create. And we adjusted to that, and we knew that could come. They played a little bit on this last year too, but I think that those were like really the main differences.
All right, again in the back on the left, Scott.
Myles, this is for you. Can you talk about this team and the ability now, offensively and defensively, to go out and combine to get a victory? This is, it wasn't just offense this game or defense this game. It was a combination team victory.
I mean, that's how it was last year. Sometimes it was one-sided, but I mean, this year we got the right pieces in every spot, to come together on both sides and make big plays, like either create turnovers or make touchdowns, so we don't have to have one side carrying the other.
Again, raise your hand. We're going to go back here in the 6th row on the left.
Zach Taylor, KZNE Radio. Kyle, you were mentioning being able to adapt to their defense, that they were being uncharacteristically. But what were some things you felt that you guys were lacking a little bit today?
I didn't think we lacked much. There were some drives where we stalled out early. I think our energy was a little low at the beginning of the game. But with the type of offense that Arkansas runs, you're not going to get the ball much. And you're going to have to take advantage of your opportunities. And I will say one thing that we lacked in today was converting in the red zone. And I knew early that was going to come back to haunt us, if not lose the game for us, because instead of having 13 points, we should have been in a 21-point situation if we would have scored both times. But I thought that we did very well with driving the ball deep in our own territory. We had a couple of drives from the 7 and one from the 1-yard line that we ended up scoring on. So I thought overall as an offense that we produced very well. It's just hard in these types of games when you play teams like Arkansas and LSU where they just hold the ball. You really got to take advantage of every opportunity.
All right, right here in the second row, Mark.
Mark Passwaters with Rivals. Kyle, I've asked you this before, so I apologize for asking again. How about Christian Kirk?
Yeah, I mean, Christian Kirk, I think he had 3 receptions for 140 yards in the first half. I mean, he's an electric player, and we have so many of them at the receiver position that it's hard to key on one person. Christian Kirk took over early in the game. Josh Reynolds took over later in the game because they started keying Christian and other guys. So you really can't key a certain guy on our offense. But that spark early with Christian in the offense and in the special teams kept us in the game, and we wouldn't have been anywhere close without him.
All right, in the back, Daryl.
Josh, can you talk about the missed field goal and going to overtime, and did the thought go through your mind, here we go again?
Yeah, that's exactly what went through my mind. I mean, I knew we were gonna be ready for overtime play and all that. So, you know, coach called up the right couple plays to put the ball in the end zone, and we executed in it.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Coach is on his way in.